for our card today, I'm going to be using a stamping up set called Lovely as a Tree that I mentioned in the stamping video a few weeks ago. Any type of tree stamp would work well for this that doesn't have leaves on the tree, something that can create a silhouette type look. This set also comes with this spruce tree that would have worked. It's not going to work very well with a tree that implies that you need to color the leaves in. This technique would also work with anything that would make a pretty silhouette. There's some new stamps out where there's like a little girl swinging on a swing from a tree. Those kinds of things would be great for this technique as well, because we want the image to be in black, and then we're going to add some color to the background. I've also done this with a white image, especially one that's embossed with a crystal type of embossing powders, a diamond type look to it that makes it look like snow on the trees. That's really pretty at Christmas time. Well, we're going to stamp this with Versamark and emboss with black embossing powder. You could also do the same thing by stamping with just black ink. You need an ink that doesn't run when you apply other colors to it, so black stays on ink would work for this as well. Alright, first off I need my embossing buddy to go over this. Add Versamark ink to my stamp. Hopefully you can see that. I've got some leaves stamped there. And I don't use black ink very often, so I don't have a special container for it. I'm just going to use a piece of white paper to collect my excess powder. Sprinkle over the top. Just a little bit more than I need to do. Okay. I've got a little bit of extra that I'm going to clean off there. Do that in a minute. I'm going to clean up my work area here. I'll pour all the extra black back into the bottle that I can, and then I'll wipe down the craft sheet so that I don't pick up any more of this black embossing powder where I don't need it to be. Okay. Alright, as I said, I have a little bit of black that's gotten in there where I don't want it. Fingernails or paintbrush works really well to remove excess embossing powder. Alright, I'm going to set that aside for just a moment. Now I want to create one more stamped image because I'm going to use a mask. So I'm going to clean my stamp, and it doesn't matter what color I stamp with because I'm just creating a mask. So I just grabbed the first ink that came off the stand over here. It's a rough color ink. I'm using some scrap paper. And I'm just going to create a little mask. And what I'm doing with this, I want to ink the area above the ground line in the sky kind of colors, and the area below in the ground, in greens. So I'm just going to take this image and cut along where the ground line is. so I have two parts to my mask, and what I'll do first is let's work on the ground first. So I want to attach this paper to the top portion of the stamped image, so only the bottom portion is showing. To do that, I'm going to use some repositionable adhesive. There's lots of different kinds of this that you can buy. A lot of adhesive comes in a repositionable one, as long as it's not permanent. That'll be fine for my mask. Okay. Alright, now I want some greens for the bottom. I'm going to be using some Distress ink and also some Stampin' Up! Ink for this technique, and I'm using a sponge. You could use some of those Distress inkers that you can buy from Ranger. Sponges work really great because you can wash them out and reuse them with other colors. And I think I'll start with a slightly darker one here. This is a Distress ink, which will blend really well. But this technique will also work with the Stampin' Up! Inks. The classic Stampin' Up! Inks, or any other dye ink that you want to use. Add a little different shade of green in here on the bottom and just blend these together really well. And there's my grass. Take away the mask. And now I'm going to take the other half of my mask and cover up the green part. I want to put my removable adhesive close to the edge where I'll be inking. So that'll hold that in place really well and I won't get any ink underneath. And I'm going to drop the mask down just a tiny bit with a little bit of green showing here because I don't want to end up with a white line. If I don't cover it good, I might end up with an area that doesn't get covered here and show up in white. Alright, so let's do our background. I'm going to start with a little bit darker blue. This happens to be a Stampin' Up! Color, not quite navy. And I'm going to build in some purples in this too. I have a mixed dusky background. Finally finishing off the top with a very light blue. This is a Ranger color, tumbled glass, a wonderful color for skies, blending. I just use this a lot. And you can blend and make this as dark as you'd like. And when you're finished, just pull off your mask. A little bit of zip. And you've got a nice background, or a nice image that we can add to our card. And as usual, these inks always make my hands a little bit dirty, so I'm going to clean those up, put these away, and come back and we will finish assembling our card. Okay, to finish up our card, I have a sentiment stamp and some Perfect Plum, kind of a dark purple ink that I'm going to use to stamp Thinking of You along the bottom edge of my image. There in the middle. Okay. And then I have some designer papers that I've already pre-cut to my card width. I'm going to put one at the top, one down here at the bottom, and I'm going to tie some ribbon around it. Now the one at the bottom, I want to tear the edge, and when you're tearing the edge of a designer paper, if you bring the left hand forward, you will not get any of the backing showing, and if you bring the right hand forward, you will. And let me show you the difference. So if I start tearing here along the edge, I get an edge that doesn't show any of the white or the back side of the paper. So just kind of a rough edge, and that's kind of what I'm going for on this card. I didn't want to see that white. Okay? If I had gone with the right hand forward, I would get that white edge. So it's just whichever look that you want for your card. Okay. Alright, so now I just need to glue a few things in place and tie the ribbon on. After a couple of different tries, I've decided the best place for this ribbon is just slightly to the left of my sentiment. The center was covering up a little bit, and it was just a little too balanced. I like things a bit asymmetrical. Okay. And I typically like to tuck a glue dot underneath my ribbons. To hold them in place. Alright, and there's our card, using some distress inks, embossing, masking, a lot of different techniques with just one simple stamp set. Thank you for joining me, and see my blog for more details.